Today we're taking a front row seat at the most chaotic local festivals on Earth by counting down the 10 bizarre British traditions that make the rest of the world question their sanity. And while the British love to project an image of quiet, polite, tea-sipping restraint to the outside world, their weekends tell a completely different story. Once they leave their offices, they gather in rain-soaked fields to engage in physical torment and absolute madness, all in the name of preserving local heritage and defying the safety warnings of the municipal compliance cartels or local councils. At number 1 is the Cooper's Hill cheese rolling. Every May, a crowd of brave, yet deeply misguided competitors gathers at the top of an almost vertical cliff in Gloucestershire. They launch themselves down the mud-slick precipice in hot pursuit of an 8-pound wheel of double Gloucester. And this dairy-based gravity weapon can reach speeds of up to 70 miles per hour. And because gravity always wins, the event is basically an annual festival of dislocated shoulders and broken bones. If they aren't tumbling down hills for cheese, they are pulling bizarre faces at number 2 with the World Gurning Championships. Held in Cumbria, contestants put their heads through a leather horse collar, known as braffen, and attempt to snarl, grimace, and distort their features into the ugliest expressions possible. The winner is the facial distortion artist who manages to look the least like a human being, a title that is celebrated with immense local pride. Next, we look at number 3, the Cotswold Olympic Shin kicking. And this is a brutal medieval martial art where 2 competitors hold each other by the lapels and repeatedly kick each other in the shins until one of them cries out "sufficient" and falls to the ground. To prepare for this tibia-shattering combat, competitors are graciously allowed to stuff their trousers with straw to cushion the blows. And then we travel to Wales for number 4, box snorkeling. In the tiny town, and please my Welsh friends forgive me, but I don't know if it's Llanid Wells, participants don snorkels, masks and flippers to swim 2 consecutive lengths of a 60-yard peat trench through a murky bog. And swimming strokes are strictly banned. Competitors must rely solely on flipper power to navigate the cold, brown, nutrient-rich muck. At number 5 is the tar barrels of Ottery St. Mary. While most countries use torches for bonfire night, Devon locals prefer to set giant wooden barrels filled with tar completely on fire, hoist them onto their shoulders, and run screaming through packed crowds of spectators. It's a terrifying display of incendiary asphalt toting that somehow survives modern health and safety regulations every single year. And this eccentricity slows down at number 6 with the World Snail Racing Championship. Held in Norfolk, hundreds of slow-moving garden mollusks are placed at the center of a damp cloth circle. The slime trail drag racers race to the outer ring, while passionate crowds cheer, wave lettuce leaves, and place actual bets on creatures moving at a fraction of a mile per hour. Which brings us to number 7, the hexi hood. This ancient mud-soaked game in Lincolnshire involves hundreds of villagers pushing a leather tube, the hood, toward one of the local pubs. The scrum, known as the sway, can take hours, involves a mountain of mud, and is essentially an unorganized giant rugby match with absolutely no rules. At number 8 is the World Worm Charming Championships in Cheshire. Competitors are given a small plot of land and 5 minutes to coax as many earthworms out of the soil as possible. They use everything from garden forks to musical instruments to vibrate the ground, turning the park into a symphony of bizarre hums to trick the subterranean soil dwellers into thinking it's raining. At number 9 is up Helly Aa. In the remote Shetland Islands, the locals celebrate their Norse heritage by dressing up as full-scale Viking squads, marching through the streets with flaming torches, and throwing them into a beautifully handcrafted replica of a Viking longship to burn it to the ground. And finally at number 10 is the Padstow Obby Oss. Every May Day, Cornwall is taken over by 2 giant wooden-framed hobby horses that swirl through the streets, accompanied by dancers and musicians. It's a hypnotic ancient fertility rite that looks like a beautiful, feverish pagan dream. Ultimately, these wild and muddy gatherings prove that beneath the British veneer of stiff upper lip politeness lies a deep, unstoppable desire for complete and utter chaos. And we will go more into that until the next round.